Okay, so you might have noticed I haven't been uploading for the past 2 months. In fact, 2 months ago, I made all of my videos private, and that's of course for a very specific reason. 2 months ago, I received my second false community guidelines strike in a row. This time it was for commenting in a post, Hasan is a bitch, because of course it was. So the first thing I would like to say is, one, I said that because it's true, and the second thing I would like to say is that it doesn't violate community guidelines. And as soon as I got this strike, I went over to their community guideline, which they referenced about bullying and harassment, to make sure my post didn't in fact break guidelines. And as you can see here, I didn't call Hasan a bitch to incite hatred towards him. My posts don't get views and nobody likes the guy anyway. I didn't say it to hurt his feelings or incite harassment, whatever that means. I just said it because it's true. Just for some context, Hasan was calling his audience of like 13,000 people at the time bitches because they don't want to watch his garbage gameplay streams instead of his normal politics rant about eating the rich, and so he rage quit on them and threw a tantrum on whatever platform he was on. So I think it's fair to say by any standards that Hasan is a bitch for that reason, so I did not break terms of service. Again, I never called Hasan a bitch to be a bitch to him, I just called him that because it's true. No TOS violation, of course goes without saying, but if this is a TOS violation, anything is a TOS violation. Now I was going to tell YouTube all of that since they have an appeal system, but unfortunately I never got to do that because YouTube has a very Weasley tactic. I think they know that over 90% of the strikes they apply to people's channels are blatantly false. I remember the first 3 strikes I had were all for hate speech, and all 3 of them were appealed per my appeal, so I think it's pretty clear YouTube just wants these videos that they flagged to remain down despite not breaking TOS. In this case, it was just a shitty YouTube post because, well, it goes against their agenda. So while previously they had an appeal button and you'd press it, it would bring you to the next screen where you could type in your appeal and submit it, and of course that makes sense. What are you going to submit, an empty appeal? Well, YouTube figured maybe people wanted to do that, like that if you appeal, congratulations, you just wasted your time and there's a 0% chance you're getting unbanned because you literally didn't get to defend your content from the accusations of the strike, so for all intents and purposes the strike still stands. Well, now you should be seeing this on your screen. Now if you get a strike, you're going to have this little button that stands out and says appeal. You're going to be prompted to just click on that to go to the next page and start typing out your appeal now that you've gathered your evidence, read their guidelines, and are ready to debunk their false strike. But you see, you had to press that little arrow, you know, the one that doesn't stand out, because yeah, they just made you send an empty appeal, and worse yet, you can't unsubmit it. Once you click that, it's final and you can't re-appeal, so go fuck yourself, basically, is what you're left with. Now, as you all know, I've stated this multiple times, what YouTube is doing nowadays is North Korea shit. This is a time in our lives where social media is really the only place where your speech still has the impact to do what free speech is protected for. Have your voice matter and have your voice heard. That's where people go to listen. If you want to hear someone's opinion, you go online. If you're in the streets, sure, you're allowed to block traffic and be a public nuisance, have your speech there while others cannot just log off if they don't want to hear it. They're stuck in their car and they're stuck in traffic because your right to say whatever you want somehow implies you get to say it wherever you want, including where the public is meant to carry out tasks like transportation. So you get to shut down the entire system people use to get to work and get by their lives. I mean, by those standards, January 6th wasn't even illegal because people were just as any street protesters saying what they should be allowed to say in a place they aren't supposed to be. But you see, people don't really want to hear what you have to say when you're the reason they can't get to work. You could be mad at the world's injustices, but if your protest is causing more injustice because those who are going to hear you have nothing to do with why you're mad, they just wanted to get to work, you're the reason they're instead getting punished, well, your message might be good, but at that point, people aren't going to be mad with you, they're going to be mad at you. Not an effective way of communicating a message. Say you're alone, believing something you want to share. In a world where social media doesn't exist, you could go protest by yourself, won't do anything. Or with social media where, again, you're not being a public nuisance, people are there to hear what you have to say, and you don't have to travel 1,000 miles to find someone who your message will resonate with, well, on there you can't speak. And this is becoming a bigger and bigger issue. Now, of course, as I said in my first ever short on the alternative channel I use in the meantime, if our government really cared to preserve free speech, they could do that. Again, in a capitalist society, the government's job is to be the biggest corporation, the biggest corporate force that acts on the behalf of the people. No money in politics, no electoral college, that's not representation, but well, we have a corrupt system. Now again, to counter the fascism from social media platforms around the First Amendment at a time was the only place where your speech still matters, the government could just make their own social media platform and extend the First Amendment to that platform, give it all the functionality all the platforms we love to use have, and extend the First Amendment to cover users on that platform and allow that platform to compete with fascist platforms like YouTube until maybe they feel enough pressure to move away from the ad-safe North Korea bullshit. It's pretty simple, and it could even put more taxes into the system, money that isn't being stolen from citizens because those platforms make a lot of money, but we could always dream. YouTube's supposed to be the place to make your dreams happen. It's where my dream started, and well, as you can see, I still haven't given up on those. But unfortunately for you, if you have a dream of making it on YouTube and also being yourself, whether yourself appeals to the status quo or not, YouTube has a message for you that their platform is where your childhood dreams go to die. Some of you listening might have been like me, people who took inspiration from this platform once upon a time, and whose childhood dreams were to take their shot at it, create a story for themselves, and make their story worth the while, and hopefully have people climb on board one day once their story becomes more interesting. But unfortunately for you, to well, again, save the kids, they're gonna make kids commit suicide, because protecting them means protecting them from themselves, and therefore their false idea that their gender identity matters, as protection, not abuse. And in the same way, if you wanted as a kid to get to be yourself in terms of saying what you really think, as long as it doesn't break guidelines, say do what I did which got me in this situation, well, for the sake of the kids, we're going to ruin your childhood dreams for the sake of protecting you and others from your false idea that the truth matters. It's pathetic, it's despicable, but unfortunately it's profitable too. That's why they throw you in a cage if you're suicidal instead of helping you, because helping you costs, and putting you in a cage, then giving you a healthcare bill to pay for your forced stay, is despicable, but it's profitable too. Yes, it is. Can't imagine being this selfish yet not having an ego, that which of course comes at the price of your conscience. But then again, these people very well might not have a conscience, as you can see here. Profit comes first, morals come never, and it's always how these people work. But well, I've had this dream for way too long, so I'm not gonna give up now. So good luck taking every dream down, YouTube, since you have all this power and influence over people's lives, and that's what you choose to do with it. Meanwhile, I'm making all of my videos public again since I no longer risk termination at my next false strike. Hassan is still a bitch, and well, I will be seeing y'all next time. Peace.